There we go. How's everybody doing? Let's see if we can go live. Just trying to make all this work here on every platform. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone's having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday afternoon, wherever you are. Sorry I'm running late once again, turning into a tradition. But it is Sunday, and Sundays are meant to be lazy. So just waiting for some folks to pop in the chat, pop in the video. This is going to be a really good one. Once we get a few viewers in, get Alex in. Let's go live on Instagram. Boom. I'm going to make sure to jump into the very first story right away. And just a moment, let me make sure we have everything running. And Alex has everything he needs to. There's the notification that the video's out. About a minute delay. Okay. I'm going to wait for Alex to pop in. Let's take a look here. Made some changes to our layout here a little bit. And here I need to actually take the time to correct this. So bear with me, guys. We're running late for a reason, but this is going to be a very good show, I promise. I did a good thing. So let's see. I'm going to put this away. Kind of got everything ready to go. And here's what we're going to do. Move that here. Go like this. And let's see if we can make this nice. Okay, so hopefully you guys will like this new layout that we got going on. Moving forward, got a few changes. We'll see those throughout the video, and we'll see Alex if he decides to pop in. We actually have a different one we can use. Got a few viewers, guys. Bear with me. Just 2 minutes into we're gonna make sure this works real nice. Okay, and then Alex, let's make sure he has everything he needs to be able to pop in without me needing to. Yeah, I got a bunch of comments already. Awesome. Good to see the same names. Let's go, guys. Let's see what we got. So it looks like Alex is not in yet. Okay, so we'll get that figured out. How's everybody doing? How's everybody Sunday? Reputable Rides, you made it. Yo, you made it to the show, man. Very cool. Good news, Jerome. We got good news, man. No more doom and gloom. We really got some good news. And what's really cool, at least makes me feel good about it, is that some of the stuff that I was talking going back to January, where I got a lot of hate, and at the time, kind of a laughing stock of the YouTube community because it looked like I had made an error, and it's actually showing that it's not the case. So again, I stuck to my guns, and we'll see. I mean, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, if you will, but I think we're going to get somewhere. So let's take a look here. So we'll have some good news there. Reputable Right says, I find it super funny that ET Transport copy your live show, but wants people to pay for watching them and asking questions. Tells us who really cares about the truckers. Love the show. Been here. Man, Reputable, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. I'm actually kind of an acquaintance of Ronan. We did a video together, and it was it was a short that we did together, and we've been in pretty close communication with him as well as his assistant. And I think he's actually a pretty great guy. I did see a video that he did I thought was really cool. It was a short just the other day about some reasons why maybe it's not working out with dispatch or things like that, like dispatch not being available, things like that. So, but I actually didn't know that they were doing live shows, and I also didn't know that they were pay to play kind of a thing. So, looks like Alex may have joined us. Let's take a look here. Let me see how to get this man in here. There we go. Here he is. All right. Very cool.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Alex. What's up, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, pretty good.
You got your mustache game on, huh? Let's see if we can get rid of that footer.
Yeah, changed a little bit of style and everything.
Yeah, let me get rid of that footer so we can get a better look. Let's see. Where's that? Let's see. Maybe it was this one. Boom. There we go. Yeah, you got the beard and mustache. See, the footer was closing your mustache. But, yeah, I was just talking about Reputable Rides is saying that ET Transport has been doing live shows like us, and but, they're charging people or whatnot. And I was just saying, I think Rona's an awesome guy. I got the opportunity. I really see it as an opportunity. I learned a lot of stuff. He shared some data with me, analytics, and I got to geek out a little bit with what and he gave me some good ideas, and hopefully I was able to get some good ideas for him as well. And generally, it's been awesome. And actually, I hope to get in touch with, as soon as I kind of clear my plate a little bit, I'd like to be able to get in touch with him again and maybe do something more of a long form video. But I'll have to look into it. Now I had no idea. So, but yeah, you've definitely been here. Remember your name since day one. You've been here, and definitely appreciate that. Hummingbird Logistics Inc. Good evening. What is the going rate for flatbed at this time? Flatbed versus step deck. So I'll tell you, we don't really do much step deck work. We know how to do it, but we just kind of stay out with the basics of van reefer and flatbed. And honestly, there are no averages. You know what I mean? There's just no averages out there. Any number I'm going to give you is going to be kind of a lie, right? Because we have guys that do well, and then I see other people doing not so well. So it can definitely vary. Sounds like Alex had something to kick in. He might have some numbers for you.
Yeah, I mean, depends. Like in terms of flatbed and step deck. So for flatbed, as of right now, that depends on the leg of it. If it's a 48 or a 53, because of course the 53 is always gonna pay better. That's 100% sure. Let's say, I mean, on an average, I'm saying on a lower note instead of a higher note. On average, if you look at on a monthly basis in the current market, if you stay on the road for 2 weeks plus and you go pretty much everywhere, you're looking at somewhere around 6K in gross, with somewhere around 230 to 240 a mile. That's for a 53. For a 48, slightly less than that, of course, because you limit your market by a bit. And with the step deck, basically a 53 step deck is treated more or less like a 48 flatbed, with some extra opportunities from time to time, maybe 1-2 opportunities a month. You're not going to find a lot of step deck stuff. And 48 step decks are kind of doomed in the spot market.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, these numbers that he's talking, so they obviously vary market to market. One of the things that I always have to be careful with, especially our weekly videos, because they're a double-edged sword. What happens is a lot of times folks will watch some of our videos from the past when maybe the markets were even worse than they are right now, and then they'll see the numbers and then they don't really look at the date, and so they'll say, oh, what are you talking about? I make twice as much, you know what I mean? Things like that. Or in a hot market, they'll watch some old videos. I have some old videos like Power Only that are like 3-4 year old videos, and they see the rates that we were showing during that time, and they're like, certain comments come out depending on what kind of market in those videos and things like that. So it's kind of interesting. We definitely have to be mindful about the dates and when we're doing these things. So definitely, Hummingbird, we can always explore. We can look into some of our data and some of our numbers that we have, when we're not doing it live, when we get on the phone and just get that kind of taken care of. Then we also got Riding Dirty. Hello from Denver. Yes, sir. Another one of the guys that's been here since pretty much day one. Sean Fairman, checking in from the Buckeye State. All right, man. Fantastic. Hopefully it's not too hot right now. And then you got another gentleman. That's Denver, Colorado, Riding Dirty. Yeah, it's 101 today. 101, 102 in Salt Lake. So, it's very, very hot. Well, in any case, guys, I promised you guys 8.5 minutes ago that I would jump in right away into the story. So when this video finishes up and you're watching the replay, which I hope a lot of people watch the replay, I'm going to put some chapters so you can skip through that, because I think this is going to be an important video, and it's actually part of the description is that we're going to be analyzing some of this information. Now, I kind of went a little bit overboard, as I sometimes do, but I think you guys will like this new format that we got going on. I'll just have to fill up this fourth square with maybe a guest or something. That would be kind of cool. But what we're going to cover today, I kept just going deeper and deeper and deeper, and I think that this will be the majority of the story today. So we're going to look at U.S. imports hitting the 5-year high. There is explosive freight. This was stuff that was not expected, so unexpected numbers. We'll look at U.S. import shipments that have surged to a 5-year high. We're going to look at a 7-day moving average showing about 70,000 daily shipments, almost a 60% increase year to date. When have we seen those kind of numbers, those kind of figures? We haven't seen those in years. And it's so nutty that Craig Fuller of FreightWaves, awesome guy, he said he didn't see this coming in 2024. So it's very, very interesting. We're going to look at, not going to get into too many details, but rising tender rejection rates, rates. We'll cover what those things are, China's export rush, commodity trends, some of the market insights of what we're seeing, how these things are, are going to progress, and how, more importantly, you guys can take advantage of that in a very similar fashion as our dispatchers take advantage of these things in order to get the rates that we show you guys weekly, right? The flatbed guys, stick around. So who was asking? That was, I think it was, let's see, Hummingbird. Yeah, that's right. Hummingbird Logistics was asking about flatbed. So that's another thing that we're going to actually look at, not specifically dollar amounts, but flatbeds, lumber, and we're going to look into construction. Okay, so similarly with step decks. We'll look at some price numbers. We'll look at lumber. We'll look at January through February of 2024, and then we'll look at some updated numbers for, actually so updated, like pretty much this week's numbers, like up to this week. So I think this is going to be helpful. We'll look at some heat maps and how you can use heat maps to get a really good idea of what's going on in the market, compare market conditions, and just do so visually if you're a visual type of person. Okay, and then we'll see what happens then, huh? Afterwards. So, yeah, Alex, how you doing, dude? How are things going
pretty
here?
good, pretty good. A chill weekend, preparing and mentally and physical and mostly economically for the vacation.
That's right. That's right. That's awesome, and that's necessary. That's part of it. I'm actually learning from everyone. A lot of people are going on vacation, and oh, let's see. Did I have a frame here? Sorry, I wanted to. I had. I guess not. That's okay. This will do. We'll make mild improvements to the interface later. Yeah, I've been thinking about taking some time off myself, and the guys are slowly, thankfully not all at the same time, but they've kind of worked things out where one guy leaves and then the other one waits for his turn, and then that way we can still make things work throughout the office and not really have a disbalance or anything like that. So it's definitely, but it's necessary. So truckers, guys, I know times are tough. Everyone's working and living paycheck to paycheck. It's you got to take some time off. You got to stop driving. And I'm going to take my own advice here and advice of Alex and some of the other guys.
Sometimes taking a little bit of a time off actually could benefit you more. Even though you're throwing away some money, but you're also relaxing, clearing your mind, and whenever you restart work with your clear mind and relaxed and everything is just so much better. You're so much more productive.
100%.
Like you don't wake up anymore with, oh shit, I have to go again, or I have to do this or that, or so on.
Sure. No, it kind of rebuilds. You got to find your way, like, of how you recharge. Like, we know some of the guys that in Lincoln, they like to go fishing, and it just so happened to be that like two of the guys who are very friendly, very close, they both like fishing. How much better is that? You know what I mean? Like, see, I'm not much of a fisherman at all.
For example, Tex that likes to go diving, for example. Everybody has his own pill, as long as you take it.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one. Well, in any case, just jump into the story. Awesome stuff. So let's jump in. 801-448-6363 if you guys need dispatch service. We'll talk all about that. We do dispatch. We also lease on owner ops. Today is the 23rd. Here's what we got working. What we're working on, guys. This is good news. As the title had mentioned, this is good news. So U.S. import shipments, and MA7 means it's a 7-day moving average. Okay, so what we're looking at here is based on a 7-day moving average. We hit a 5-year high, nearly about 70,000 shipments, a little over 70,000 shipments daily. Okay, 7-day moving average number of BOLs clearing the port, 70,000 daily shipments, almost a 60% year to date. Okay, that's what we got right there. A lot of impressions. Now, this is super, super important, guys, because look at the numbers. Look, there's 2020. There's 2020. The number of shipments has skyrocketed. What do we have here? This is like maybe the middle of 2022. Little bursts. So we're seeing some really high numbers. Five-year high. Tender rejections at 5.3%. That's up from 3.3 a year ago. Now you might think, what are you talking about? 3%, 5%, such small numbers, et cetera, et cetera. But it's of a huge market, right? So up by 2%, this is absolutely humongous, absolutely humongous. Tender rejections are at 5.3, up from 3.3 a year ago. The second half could be exciting for carriers. They may gain pricing power for the first time since the first quarter of 2022. Now, this is Craig Fuller talking. This guy knows what he's talking about. He's been very, very spot on. And by the way, that's the guy. Follow him on Twitter at Freight Alley. That's the guy who was the first to call successfully the freight recession. Timed it. Boom. And why? Because they got the data. Now, I'm not a salesman for sonar, so I'm gonna stop right there. Now, but what I will say is this. Right there, he says it. The second half could be exciting for carriers. They may gain pricing power for the first time since the first quarter. Shippers should be prepared for capacity issues as we move towards the peak. Now, I don't think we're going to have capacity issues unless something really terrible happens between now and fall. And there's a whole lot less trucking companies. Now, that may be the case because the revocation list rate, it's quite a lot. There's a lot of companies that are closing, and this gives us a lot of time.
It may be the case. Sorry to interrupt.
Sure, please.
I heard a lot of news about this. I don't know if you all heard about it. You know that, for example, since with the war and everything, a lot of ports closed.
Mm-hmm.
First with the COVID, and then with the wars, a lot of ports closed, and there's much less influx of merchandise in the ports. The thing is, I've heard recently, especially China, sending a lot of stuff instead of sending through our ports normally.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're sending it to either South America or Mexico or Central America, and then they ship it through Mexico, and they have a couple of points for Phoenix, Arizona, Laredo, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
Corpus Christi, Texas, couple places in Louisiana, and from my understanding, so pretty much all the south border.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All the south border, it has it will. I mean, right now, it has an influx of shipments, but they're contracted as of now. But right now, from my understanding, is only 15% of what it will, because right now they're testing to see if it works better for them. Because shipping it, basically shipping it directly to US, it costs them more
Mm-hmm.
than doing it like this. And of course, China will do all the things possible to spare some money.
Well, we'll talk about that actually.
Great either.
Part of the story here, we will talk about China because they have changed up the strategies. They were forced to change their strategies because of their current economic conditions, where they find themselves, and the U.S. is actually going to benefit from this. And that's actually the reason for the good news. So if you actually look at this, the orange line here, if you guys look at, it's one of those videos where you might have to, you'll have to actually watch the video. So if you jump into the replay, you'll be able to do that in case you're driving and just kind of listening to this thing as radio. But we have an orange line, which is going to be your 2021 numbers. Your green line that just basically crashed right here, which is about May of 2021 and just kept getting worse and worse. And now we find ourselves at about the same level of where we are in today's day. So what's actually happening is we're right about here, which is sitting at an average of 5.3. And the year average for 2023 was 5.24. So, things can change. We're only halfway through the year, but these are good positive indicators. So if you look at that. Now, where it's all happening is it's happening in Los Angeles, guys. So the West Coast is going to be the one's going to get really hammered with this freight. It's going to start going throughout the country. So if you're a carrier in the West Coast, you're going to benefit from this. Vans, it's going to be dry freight, so reefers can carry them too, and then flatbeds and step decks. There you are. So tender rejections are coming out of LA. They're blasting off. What are tender rejections? That's when carriers reject the offer. They have to go back and get some more money to get the carrier to move, right? So you want the high percentage of that, right? You want it So Craig says that it should be above 8%, right? So. We've seen it go as high as like 25 during the peak of COVID, 25, somewhere there. So, and that's where the money was really paying because no one was taking anything. So apparently we didn't learn from that experience as a trucking whole, as a community. That holding out, not taking cheap freight is tends to help everyone involved. So tender rejections are out. He's very bullish about this, and he says just wait until container imports peak in the third quarter. Look at that chart. I mean, look at that. This is fantastic. Again, outbound tender rejection for specifically Los Angeles. Now, hopefully those containers are coming here, and it looks like they are. I'm trying to be funny here because here's what we got. This is from a different place, and we'll look at some sourcing as well. China and their global, basically the global and Shanghai exports. So you're going to have two lines here. These are two indexes, basically, like an S&P 500 or Dow Jones. So you have your CCFI, which is China Containerized Freight Index, and you have your Shanghai Containerized, which is SCFI. What you're seeing here is huge export right here. Huge export. You see how they're very, very similar. Even the charts are, they follow each other. And so that export's coming. Hopefully it's coming here. And they are, right? So what we got here is from Real Developments, CFA, also very interesting. It says freight out of Los Angeles ports. So Long Beach, Port of Los Angeles, and these are specifically Chinese imports, are taking off despite consumer spending slowing down. We've talked about that in the past. The Chinese are cranking up their factories to keep their population employed at the domestic Chinese economy falters. China will export at all costs to maintain employment and hold off domestic unrest. This will prove to be deflationary in goods prices. Lower demand and higher supply means lower prices, right? They're going to flood the market with this stuff because they're going to keep people busy, employed and working, because most of their economy is reliant on their real estate sector, and their real estate sector is exploding. So you got to keep people at bay and busy, and so they don't have civil unrest, right? So that's what China's doing. Trucker load rejections in the Los Angeles market are skyrocketing, signaling rising imports. And again, what do we have? Outbound tender rejection rate specifically for Los Angeles. There it is. Okay.
I mean, it was about a time West market was close to dead for the past a good couple of months.
Absolutely, man. It was dry.
Like, yeah, California, it was slightly better, but the rest of it was totally bad. So, and the thing is, I don't think they're gonna do it all through California. Maybe at the beginning they will, but slowly they're gonna expand to Oregon and Washington too, because they're gonna be like overloaded. They're not gonna be able to do anything. Like, think about it. Like, around 10% of the trucks that are on the road can't even go into California, if not even more than 10%.
Oh yeah, no, the majority, and they're making it more and more stringent, more and more difficult. So definitely, I'm really hoping our chat's working. I haven't seen any updates in a while. I'm not sure if it's. Hopefully, it's working. Guys, next thing is right here.
They're looking.
They're looking, guys. And again, and I'll show you guys all this, and like we'll go through it again so you guys can look at it more like high def or whatnot. But you should be able to see it on your screen quite well, especially on the computer. What we're gonna do here today is, again, we're gonna go quite deep. So I kind of took time and just kept digging, and I had more questions, so I'd get those answered and get more, more info, more screenshots, this and that, and we ended up with this.
Make it a little bit bigger.
Make this bigger? I can, but I'm afraid it might cut you off. And I did maybe this one.
Not a problem, because we need to. I mean, that's the most important stuff. I can be seen anytime, but
yeah. How's this? Is that better? Is that?
Let's see.
Or should I? Because we can also.
Yeah, much better.
Let's see which one. This one. I remember which one. No, this is just a small.
No, the one that you made, it was much better.
Okay, cool. So we'll do it like that, and we'll just leave. There you go. So maybe that'll work better. And you can kind of zoom in on the screen if you're on mobile. So guys, let's look at some commodities, because I really think what the whole purpose today, I want to be able to show you guys that you don't have to pay huge amounts of money. Yeah, you'll get benefit from like very expensive software, blah, 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 but you got to use it, right? So like Alex said, everybody's got their own pills. You got to make sure that you take it, right? So it's the same thing here. If you got to know how to use the software, and you have to do all these things. But this is free data. Okay. So here, what we're looking at is 1 month worth of data. Here we are, May 23rd, 2024 through June 23rd. 1 month of data. And what do we know? This is 1 month rise and fall of raw materials. And what did we see come up? Cocoa went up. And what went down? Wheat, lumber. There it is. There's that lumber. Copper, palladium, cotton, orange juice, soybeans, corn, let's see, what is it? Natural gas, all kinds of stuff. Hogs, gold, gas went up. So 1.86% average for a month for this time period. This will kind of give you an idea of what's shipping. Now, there's another general thing. Once prices come up on a commodity, trucking costs generally follow. So looks like we'll be roughing it. What do I mean by that? Americans are going to be roughing it. So here's what we got here. Okay. So this data is the percentage gain of change. Okay. And what you can get here is, and let me actually zoom out in this case because I went a little too far. So it may be a little to the side, but At least you guys will be able to see this on one screen. So the only thing we have here, soybean, oats, corn, rough rice, and wheat. The rest of it, not selected. But what you're going to see is that corn, down. Wheat, let's see, down. And oats, down. Soybeans, down.
Except rice.
And rice is down too. The only one that's not down. Oh, actually no. That's the one. So I thought there was a rice, and then there was rough rice. But rough rice is the only one. Exactly. The rough rice is the only one that's trending sideways. So we're gonna be roughing it. Now I thought I initially put rice as well because they had a separate category, but I guess I didn't. But nonetheless, that's exactly it. I mean, we've seen drops here. I don't know why I'm pointing at the camera because you guys can't tell. But right here, where my cursor is, you can see that we've had drops. You know, we've seen that, what is that, in April, right? Bounce back up, but we're seeing sideways. But all of this has been really dropping. Why is all this stuff dropping? You know, there are reasons for that. There are reasons for that. We're actually seeing that. It's with weather and climate and too much water and watering out all the, different countries at war. You know what I mean? There's Idaho just shut off 500,000 acres of already planted farmland, and then they just barely got through to the government, and they opened up the water. It later turned out that they were actually doing this. I don't want to go too political, but basically money was rerouted and came back out to reopen the old cobalt mine in Idaho, which is the largest cobalt repository in the United States. How convenient. So, but it was under the guise of water conservation. But to get cobalt, you need huge amounts of water. So it's definitely something to think about. Now, the government said, we heard you, and, so go ahead and open up the water. They let them water, but they said, we'll be back next year. So you get ready. So, a little bit satirical. That's all this is, satirical. We all want to laugh, but, take it with a grain of salt. Every joke has a bit of truth, blah, 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 right? Wink, wink. So what do we got? Flatbed, guys. Flatbed and lumber, right? Construction, things like that. Here's a gentleman. He said, I don't know if he's a gentleman or not. Tyrell, I'm assuming, is a gentleman. My trucking company has had the worst few weeks to date. Lowest spot rates and lowest volume so far in the Great Recession. Flatbeds, that's what he's got. And Craig replied, this matches with the lumber market. As we've seen before in this recession, different modes have different experiences. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Housing is slow. Housing starts slow. Construction, all this other stuff, slow. Repairs, the states aren't giving out money because they're waiting for federal funds. So there's not much going on outside of your normal, construction season, like we call it in Utah. So let's look at the monthly price of lumber then in the United States from January 2016 to February 2024. And then we'll actually come a little bit closer and look at some of the closer numbers. So we're going to look at tender rejections that need to actually increase in order for those numbers to actually to go up. So somebody asked, what tender rejection rate would you expect as quote unquote normal in a normal environment where supply and demand is more or less balanced? And that's a great question, my sub club. And he said, I think the over 8% sounds good. So a very, very short response. And that's where I came up with that. So keep that in mind. Now, I wanted to show you guys a few things before we get to the bottom, because this is where we're going to go. This is really cool. Now, if you like this stuff, I could spend days on this. This is great. So what I did here is we're actually looking at year over year. Was it year over year? Monthly on some. So in this case, monthly change. And then in some, I'll show you year over year. So in this case, what we're looking at, this is trading economics. Hopefully you guys can see it there.
Zoom in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to zoom in because we have space to do that. Thank you, Alex. Perfect. All right, cool. So what do we see? So as far as energy, we can look through here. That doesn't really affect us, so we'll keep going, right? So now we got metals, right? What's really dropping? Well, lithium's really dropping, right? Iron ore, copper, things like that, right? Year over year, we can see that lithium has dropped by 69.89% in terms of the cost per ton. That's on trading value, because trading economics is showing you basically like a mercantile exchange where it's like a stock market for different commodities, okay, that they're trading. So we'll just keep going. Oh, look at that, agricultural, guys. So what do we have here? Monthly change, 16.92% drop in wheat. We got drops in cotton, and there's that lumber. So the cost is $452.59 per the contract for 1,000 board feet. of lumber, which is down by 4.1% weekly, daily rate. So it's down by $20, $19. The markets are closed now, so this data is as of probably as of Friday. And then we have monthly numbers of down by 8%. We have weekly. And then we have monthly numbers of 15.89% decreases. And of course, year to year, lumber costs have actually decreased year to year, 19.32%. Okay. And we have a lot of guys. We have like the uneducated economist out there talking about this stuff. He works at a lumber yard or something like that, and he knows his info. He knows his as far as I know, I'm certainly no expert, but he seems to know his economic policies and and understands what he's talking about. So I learned quite a bit from him while he takes his lunch and talks to us from the comfort of his car. It's kind of nice. So we can see all sorts of stuff. I don't know what rapeseed is. I know grapeseed, but I'm not sure what rapeseed is. But it looks like it hasn't changed in price too much. So we can see different types of commodities, right? So we can see, for example, if we go year to year, we can see that cocoa went up by 175%, right? It more than doubled in price, cocoa, right?
Rapeseed is used for very light oil that is used in fast food chains and so on.
Cool. Very cool. So it is a real thing. I've seen it before. I just I didn't know about.
Like all the places where they do fries and that kind of stuff, they use either palm oil or rapeseed oil.
Oh, palm oil is terrible for you. I imagine rapeseed oil is not much better.
It's slightly cleaner.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, but it's slightly more expensive too.
Okay. Well, moving on, we got orange juice that's up year over year, butter, coffee. Look at that, 33% increase. Milk went up 33%. Potatoes went up, and with Idaho and all the stuff. Now they got the water going. Hopefully they'll be able to save the majority of the crops. But if not, you would see that number come up as well. Look, tea went up, rice, blah 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 blah. And if you keep going, what we'll see is that corn went down by 29.5% year to year. Oats, wheat, sugar. You know what I mean? So we can.
The rubber went up.
Rubber, huh? Oh, we must be using rubber in something. Nonetheless, I'm surprised for corn, considering corn's used to make ethanol, and that's added into our fuel up to 10%, I think. So and so you can get a good idea of like different minerals and here's livestock and what's going on. And like, for example, eggs, CH is in China. So China is, I forget what it is, but it's a huge producer of eggs. And so they have their own market, and this is in their, Chinese currency. And then here's ours, right? So a dozen eggs average $2.58. Hasn't really changed. But guess what? Year over year, eggs went up by 132% in the United States. Just in a monthly basis, went up by 63.29% in eggs. Okay, so obviously we had a lot of stuff in the news about eggs. Now, during the same period, China has actually decreased by 10%, right? And they had a general decrease of negative 10% in costs versus the United States has a year-to-year increase of 132%, which tells me that we're probably not producing enough, or maybe we just have too many chicken farms, blown up and catching fire. Maybe that's what that is. Here we can also look at different information here: nuclear index and containerized freight index.
Put a note on it because I'm actually pretty informed on this. Not only in livestock, but even farms and crops.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of farmers, especially like individual farmers and private farms.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them go bankrupt recently because like the maintenance and everything is so highly costly.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have a good friend that he runs a farm up in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
A pretty big one actually. And they're saying, man, like the only reason that we're still, getting by is because we have cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the charts, we're negative a couple 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're doing that bad.
Well, a lot of the stuff that's out there is right there.
And think about it, they have their own silos. They have a lot of stuff, so they're not paying that, because that's also really, really bad because it costs a lot.
Yeah. A lot of farmers.
It is like that. And the thing is, even though normally when the production is lower, price should go high, right?
Yeah, supply and demand.
That's
basic
the thing.
economics.
But the thing is, the production is low and price is even lower because what they do is a lot of local places that they buy the grain.
Mm-hmm.
They don't buy the grain from the farmers. Still, it comes close to the term that it will become perishable,
And you get rid of it.
and they force the farmer to sell it cheap to them. They'll sell it cheap again. They make some profit, and they're good. And they just keep it there for a week or two, and they sell everything.
Oh yeah, there was a few countries. One large country in particular was known to keep a lot of these commodities out in the open, and they would get moldy, and they just kind of would have to go through, and they would lose large portions of that. And that was just because it's better to have some and lose some than not to have some at all, I guess, if that makes sense. So that's definitely very, very interesting. What I found also interesting here is this containerized freight index, which is year over year up by 276%. Now, that affects us in the trucking industry. We have a recent increase of 2.85%, very, very healthy. We have a weekly increase of the same thing. We have a monthly increase of 37.88%. Guys, we have freight coming our way. Look, the data is off of June 21st. That's where it cuts off. That's the data. Now, the rest of this, we don't necessarily need to even go through it.
I mean, intermodal was bad for the past year, so
Sure.
What's about it?
Intermodal's often struggling. Now, another thing I wanted to cover, and this is kind of some of the stuff that I highlighted. This is the most recent price. So you guys remember those numbers were through February of 2024. This is like right now. What's the date? Let me pop that up. So that's June 21st. June 21st, 452.60. Major decrease in lumber pricing. That's what we're looking at here. Now, let me read this to you guys. Lumber prices fell to below $480 per thousand board feet in June, marking their lowest point in over a year, driven by U.S. data showing weaker demand for wood and house construction materials, despite the 30-year U.S. mortgage rate remaining below 7%. Disappointing building permits and housing starts data significantly dampened housing market sentiment. Housing starts in May 2024 unexpectedly dropped to the lowest level since July 2020, declining by 5.5% month over month to an annualized rate of 1.27 million, 1,270,000. Okay. Building permits also fell by 3.8% to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 1.386 million, right? 1,386,000 in May 2024, the lowest since June 2020, according to preliminary estimates, highlighting the challenges in the housing market amidst the tight credit conditions. Guys, what this is saying, this is no bueno for construction, for flatbeds, no bueno, okay? And we talked about this in the past. We talked about it not long ago that we were looking at these, at where the market was going to go into the summer for construction. We're really keeping our fingers crossed to have a strong market, to have the strong market for truck and flatbed, for flatbed and step deck. I apologize. Here again, we can see these numbers, right? So let's even look at yearly. What do we have? Corn, wheat, lumber, boom. Yearly, 19.32% drop. Monthly, 15.89% drop. And just in one day, they dropped by over 4%. Major decreases, okay? Major decreases. And other things have gone up. Now, if we can always, look at the chart, like we can look at like the 10-year map chart, and we'll see that we're here trending quite low. There was only a short period of time here and here where we saw numbers go below that. Now, it could be trending there. It could be trending there if we keep going to the right. So just keep that in mind. As far as flatbed freight and step deckers, and if you're expecting high numbers coming in for the 2024 construction season, which has already started, guys, summertime. Guys, I'm going to ask you, if you haven't done so, please hit the like button. We're definitely not getting a lot of viewers today. I think this is an important video. I really think this is going to be quite important because you guys need to be ready. There is going to be a freight influx. We're already seeing it by the number. We just covered that. Now we're covering the flatbed stuff. Now, monthly price of lumber in the United States from January 2016 to here. This is where it's showing us, right? That's where it ended. February 2024, 565. We just saw the numbers were higher, were even lower today than it were based on these charts. Now, let's zoom in a little bit so we can see here. I kind of made some highlights because I think these are important also. So, Here's the monthly U.S. price of timber 2016 to 2024. The price of lumber in the United States fluctuated widely over the last 5 years from a low of $240 per 1,000 board feet in January 2016 to a peak of over $1,500 in April 2021. Furthermore, lumber prices falling by around 50% between June, or basically they fell between June and September 2018 by 50%, okay? And again, between August and October 2020, the value fell again by around 75% between May and August 2021. Okay, so historical data, guys, right there. Prices of other timber products also underwent fluctuations over the years, with paperboard exhibiting the highest increment between 2006 and 2019. So there you go, consistent data. Now, which American firms lead the production of softwood lumber? And here's your lead source, guys. Weyerhaeuser, Georgia Pacific LLC, and West Fraser is the companies that you want to get in touch with and get that freight moving. I think Alex is messaging me. Okay. Okay, so he'll join us later if he can. So you can contact these companies and get yourself in touch with with the right folks. Ask some questions, continue trying, and because you know that in the United States this is going to be your main source, right? This is your main source of lumber, softwood lumber. So if you can get a contract, maybe get some direct freight. So guys, remember, this is this is all available. This is Statista right there. So a little bit outdated because it is Statista, but there are other places that you can also get your information. So this is definitely a way to go. Get your information, learn from it, and really kind of study. After a while, it's going to start making a lot more sense. It's going to be clear, and eventually it's just going to be like this. And when you start seeing things, headlines, newscasts, videos, certain discussions, truckers at truck stops, wherever you might find yourself, is just going to click, and you're going to find that is going to convert into your bottom line, because you're going to find yourself in the right markets, the right place, the right time, working with the right deals, going, exiting at the right, you know what I mean? You're just going to have a good, much more profitable, because you're going to start understanding these things, right? So let's scroll down a little bit here. So you said 8%. Now, here's the heat maps that I promised you guys. So hopefully here, maybe I can zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. So here's the heat map. Welcome back, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So here's a heat map for the rates. This is the first one. Now, what this shows you is the freight. Now, gray is going to be your lowest number, so just assume like 1 to 10, and so it's going to be your lowest, and then like dark reds are going to be your, like these almost black, like very dark reds, going to be your highest numbers. And so this is talking about rates. So we can see in 2020 where the numbers were. We can see where in 2021 the numbers were, 22, 23, and then 24.
July 2020.
What's that?
I remember July 2020. Man, it was crazy.
Different world, man. Different time.
Yeah, we went from 140 a mile to 340 a mile.
Yep.
In a matter of a month.
Jumped. Yep. Well, you could even see, like, look how things just, 2021 was just pretty much beautiful the entire time. The majority of 2022 was very good. And, this latter portion from August moving forward was pretty, good in 2020. 2022 started petering out right there. In June, July, it started to peter out and just completely went to out the window. And then 23's kind of, been there. And now here we are in 2024. As you can see, remember the snowstorms? Oh, look at that, different color. Do you remember the second snowstorms that hit us in February? There it is. And this was basically January, from like December numbers coming into January also, with peak for holiday season, stuff like that. So we're going to see that. Some of, no major holidays. Maybe we'll see some stuff 4th of July when we get here. But those shipments, again, usually for stocking, happen about a month ahead anyway, because they have to stock the stores. Now, the second heat map here is going to be your volume. And I've been harping on volume, and I think a lot of people don't really quite understand it. Do you see the correlation here that you can almost match up the lines where you're having a buildup of volume earlier on coming in from about middle of June, whereas in August you begin to actually run up that freight because the rates start to increase as the market starts to respond with higher rates because you're becoming to see a capacity crunch, which means that truckers can now ask for more money, which means that rejection rates go up, which means that everybody's happy except, of course, the shipper, which is the customer, and obviously even the brokers are happy because a lot of these guys are making a percentage, and the margins are definitely thicker when you're able to get that from the customer. And the customers had to pay for all of these red years, months. Here on the chart. So keep that in mind. You can kind of get a visual idea of where the rates are and where the volume is. You want to see both increasing, and I think that's what we're going to see as this data fills in for the rest of the year. So again, let the data set you free, my friends. Everything I've shown you today is publicly available information. Combine these data sets with the monthly LMI, and you begin to see through the matrix code. So the LMI is the Logistics Managers Index, and the LMI will be able to actually help you, really get a really good grasp and a good idea of where the market is on a very, very detailed view, basically. And especially if you can't fall asleep, get your tablet or your phone, start reading that thing. You'll be out in about 5 or 10 minutes. You'll be out, and you will have learned a little bit. Maybe you could consume it nightly and be done with it. It's hundreds of pages every single month, but it's very good information. It's very, very useful, and it's something that I would definitely recommend. Oh, there you go. We'll just center that, make it nice and pretty, and I'll leave the floor to Alex. What do you think, Alex? Any
Well, in
comments on
terms of
stuff?
that, I mean, I'm really hoping that the market will grow. Probably the heat charts that you were showing earlier to make the people understand a little bit better. When it's that kind of red, it's not normal. That's not the normal market. Um, it had to it tended to be even like that before when the market went down and up and down and up. I mean, it was always like that. At least since I've started working in trucking, it was always like this.
Hmm.
The thing is, normally, because you saw it was that blue, the darker blue, up
Hmm.
to the dark red. Normally, like a normal rate would be the orange one, where it's somewhere in the middle. The thing is, it's very very hard, especially for such a big industry as for such a big country like USA, to find an average in it. It's very very hard because the needs of the people change, consumership changes from month to another, and so go on, and that's why it's really really hard to change.
Hmm.
Plus, one industry might fall, another one rises, another one falls too hard, rises too hard. Because right now, one thing is trending, and the necessity goes from 100% or 80.
What you were saying, the video is freezing up, and
Yeah, my
did it
internet
cut
is
out? Yeah.
going down.
So if you want to repeat the last portion, I'm sure people would love to see kind of hear what you were saying.
Yeah, basically, the market has always been like that, with pretty much like a roller coaster. Although that right now the downfall was much much longer. Like we've seen a little bit over 2 years right
Hmm.
now
Hmm.
already. So this was bound to happen. We didn't know exactly when. Actually, I mean, some people that are already even right now working with us, I kind of predicted it's gonna be like a third quarter of the year,
Hmm.
because it kind of made sense. Like after almost 2 years of very very hot market, then 2 years of
Another
very very bad market, right now it should have come up, because it's simply you cannot drive the trucking up to the point of like starvation.
long
Let's call it that. But it's a very very exaggerated term, but you know exactly what I'm saying.
Hmm.
And the last thing that any government want, especially US government, is to start basically another riot, another push, another big fuss.
Yeah.
That- That's
Yeah. Without a doubt.
that's the last thing they want to do. But that's the other thing, and that's why I always said, try to orientate yourself towards not so specialized equipment, because specialized equipment you buy it once you have already a deal. Like if you get yourself you get into trucking, maybe you worked as a company driver for 10 years, you saved money, got yourself your own truck. Don't get yourself a car hauler or a
Hmm.
grain hopper, because that's a specialized market. It is going to be very, very hard for you to get into, and it's not like this is going to pay much, much higher.
It's a totally different
Maybe
business.
with
Yeah.
car hauling could, but the amount of work that you put in car hauling, you're going to get exhausted in 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Car
Totally
hauling
different
is not
business,
for
insurance,
everybody.
everything. Yeah. So a lot of
Exactly.
a
So
lot of
that's
people
why
feel that way.
it's good to have a much more generic kind of equipment. You get yourself a semi, that's good. But also think about a little bit about your lifestyle and how you want to live. If you want to be close to home, don't get yourself a sleeper. You're not going to be able to exploit it ever. You're only going to lose money out of it.
Hmm.
Get yourself either a box truck or a day cab if you want to stay local.
Yeah.
It's going to be much better for you. And the truck is cheaper, much cheaper.
Hmm.
If you get yourself a sleeper, prepare yourself to go on the road a week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's how sleepers are. That's why you have a bed there.
The
Yeah.
Federal Reserve.
You're absolutely right. That's the reason why you got it. I mean, and my brother like runs local and stuff, but we got a sleeper.
Yeah, but he didn't used to.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
When
that's the whole idea. You could still you get more benefit out of it. Yeah, it's a little bit more clumsy for local stuff, but guess what? You can go OTR if you need to. What if the market just blows up and everything's like paying like $5 a mile and you got a day cab? you
Yeah,
know
but
what I
for your
mean?
brother is very, very different because right now he's doing more local because he has a good contract and a good agreement.
Sure.
Or for other people, they go local because maybe their wife is gonna leave them if they go on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Those don't have that choice as your brother have.
No, 100%. I completely agree. And what the reason I brought it up is simple. I wanted to explain this way that a lot of people might be in a position where the market goes up and they have a day cab. Like we had some folks that called in, they have a day cab, or they had some people that wanted to get a day cab. But what happens when you're set on that, on that day cab, local route, stuff like that. But then all of a sudden the market just goes crazy, and then suddenly you could be running like, say you're running like 2,000 miles for like $6 a mile. You know what I mean? Like you might be getting, $12,000-$15,000 loads coast to coast, or stuff like that. But you can't really do that with a day cab. There's just no way.
At that kind of rates, you can even sleep in motels, and you can.
I get you, but no one's gonna get you, that freight. You're gonna have issues having to go park in places and motels and stuff like that, and like the deliveries generally. So a lot of times brokers will be like, oh no, sleeper, got to be a sleeper. You know what I mean? Because just because lately that's the reason why when we get set up, a lot of guys send us pictures of their trucks. Now, one is pride; they're very prideful about their trucks, and the other is that they want us to see what kind of truck it is and the shape that it's in. So definitely that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like if you have like the situation where you're not gonna be able to go away from home.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. You have a sick relative that you have to take care of, or an old relative,
Exactly.
or you have
Yeah.
kids, and you can't really miss home for a good couple of years, 5, 6, 7 years. Maybe you have a 1-year-old, and you want to be close to your family and that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
You're not gonna do anything with a sleeper. If you have a situation properly, like Vitaly's brother, that you're doing this right now because you have this opportunity. I think, case in future, things changes,
Yeah.
you're available to go on the road, then yeah, definitely get a sleeper.
Hmm.
But that's the thing, you need to know a little bit like before you, especially, I mean, buying a truck and opening your own MC and so on, or even leasing on, it's a big move. When
Yeah.
you buy a truck, it's a big move.
Yeah.
You have to calculate everything, take everything in consideration. I've met a lot of people that were calling me that they were making no money,
Hmm.
but and that's the thing, a lot of people don't understand. They call me for information, but I ask them a lot of questions. It's because I want to see exactly if I'm able to help them or not. And the thing is, most of the times after I ask them a couple of questions, I realize that, yeah, okay, you're making 3 grand a week, but wait a second, you're running Monday to Friday, doing only North Carolina and Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia at best,
Hmm.
and you don't want to haul over 30,000 miles because you got yourself a truck with that maybe doesn't have such a good engine, or maybe very used, or there are a lot of reasons, and you end up making very little money because of your own choices, because you didn't take in consideration when you got into this industry what you should do. So that's the thing.
No, you're absolutely right.
Everything that you do, this is an industry. Yes, you do it as a hobby, you love what you're doing, that's totally fine, but treat it as a business. It is a business, and it has to be treated accordingly. If you don't
Yeah.
treat it accordingly and you don't respect the business is not going to respect you either.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's wonderful that people enjoy what they do. I think that's a big, big bonus, but we should also keep in mind that it is a business, certainly. Wanted to do a shout out here for David Riverman. Took me a second there. Great show, baby, today. That's awesome. Just keep grinding on, man. Oh, yeah, David Riverman. What an awesome guy. That's another guy who needs to get in touch with Tex. I think they'll make good friends. Sean Feynman said, we grow corn and soybeans here. Farms is major financial trouble. That's happening across the country. We're seeing a major hit to the agriculture, the AG sector, absolutely, and hopefully you guys get through that, and hopefully the states come through and help out with water, whatever fertilizer and whatever needs that we need in order to feed the country, because it's the farmers, the ranchers, it's the old school that is feeding the entire country. Yeah, many of us forget where our food comes from, but that's where it comes from. And Reputable Rides was saying that the cost of tires is skyrocketed because of rubber, and that's in reference to our earlier mention about rubber prices going up from the earlier portion of this. So awesome. Thank you guys for the comments. Please, again, smash the like button. We'll talk about some more stuff here shortly. But first, I wanted to show you guys this video. Some of you guys have seen it. Otherwise have not. Otherwise known as a plug.
The Federal Reserve's decision to hold interest rates means inflation is likely to stick around for a while. This presents unique challenges for truckers. Inflation is pushing up fuel.
Sorry, guys, wrong video. But we'll keep on. I'm like, what are you talking about, inflation? I don't really understand. Wrong video. I was looking for, I think I named the file wrong and was opening up what I wasn't intending to open up. But yeah, because I was like, what are you talking about, inflation? This is supposed to be a plug for the service. Come join the dispatch service. But I guess what we'll do is we'll make it old school and we'll do this. Let's see, where's that? There's the video. The old school way of doing advertising, guys. Here's our website. Make it full screen so we're nice and professional looking. Dispatch service. Join. Every week, as you guys know, we make videos. Every single week, every Friday, 5:30 Central Time, we show you guys videos of our customers, actual customers, mix of carriers and leased on owner operators. We do both. And we show you guys the top loads, how well they've done. Now, there was a mistake in the previous video. Someone in the comments said, hey, how did you miss this? There was a mismatch in pricing, which actually threw off the entire average. So that is very true. That was a screw up. And he said, how do you miss this? And I'll tell you what it is very, very quickly. That's not on purpose. And there are actually some mistakes throughout previous videos as well. We're not perfect. But what happened is by the time I get the numbers, they go through several people and several hands. And some of the folks were going on vacation. We're trying to, tie up loose ends, finish up, make sure to get everything over to me. And that's just normal. That's natural what happens. Now, I was also running short on time. Our video editor had requested that I get him the footage earlier because he had a project the next morning. So it was a perfect storm. And I made a mistake and didn't notice it. So for that, I do apologize that our averages were incorrect on one of the drivers. But generally, they usually are, and we do go through and like some of our guys that go through the data. There's an additional 2 sets of eyes besides me, and then obviously the editor gets involved too. And so we usually catch it somewhere, but since everybody was in such a big hurry, that's how mistakes are made. Nonetheless, guys, that's not a norm for our company. We offer dispatch services for those of you guys who are carriers, have your own MC authority. All you do is call 801-448-6363 or text that number or go to our website, aftdispatch.com, hit the right button for carrier, motor carrier, name, MC number, email, and phone, and then leased on owner operators. Also, you don't have an MC, you're leased on somewhere else, or you want to lease on somewhere else. This is a very, very fair program. And to get more info, super simple. First name, email, and your phone. And that's it. All our videos are on the website. You can get them. They will link out to YouTube. You can play it on your mobile device. This is today's video, data-driven market analysis. Because what we saw is that U.S. import shipments are up, tender rejections are up, inbound container freight is up, and that's what we're covering here today. But all of these topics, all of these videos, we've covered ad nauseum. There's Alex there. There's Tex Williams that we bring up in our videos quite often. There are lots of different material. Some thumbnails are better than others. We'll We'll leave it at
It
that.
is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. So you get more information. Any of these links, you can click them, get more information. And if you want to look at some numbers or you want to explore in greater detail, again, fill all these things out. If you're an owner op, Kevin will get in touch with you. He'll answer all your questions.
If you have emergency, I'll give you a call and we'll have a very, very pleasant
Yeah.
chat and we'll see what's the best opportunity for you. We're going to discuss
Absolutely.
a little bit because every trucker, every trucking company is different. So that's why we're going to have a pretty decent discussion and we're going to see a little bit what are exactly your characteristics to see what would be the best for you and to give you a little bit realistic numbers. Because one thing that I think I can differentiate myself from most of the salesmen and most of the people that do this kind of thing is I'll tell you realistic prices. Actually, sometimes I'll tell you lower numbers. So in case things go down,
Yeah.
at least I didn't lie to you. And things go great. Oh my God, But I'm never gonna inflate the numbers. I usually tend to go actually lower. I'm even gonna mention it. That I usually go on the lower note
Hmm.
because in such a bad market, I don't want to raise expectancies and I don't want to raise hopes to somebody. I want to be as transparent as and honest as possible with you guys.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, like I said, mistakes are made sometimes. Issues, things do happen, but generally speaking, it is what it is. The numbers are right on and correct. All right, Alex. I think you had some stuff you wanted to discuss also, if I
Yeah,
remember right.
it's not going to be very long, but I
Sure.
wanted to discuss a little bit because, of course, every single week I'm bumping into new people that reach out to us, and I find new issues, and not only issues, only also good things. But
Hmm.
I want to talk about some things that I've been encountering recently, and one of them was very, very high expectancies, and I'll divide it in two parts.
Like
So there are
expectations.
a lot of people, yeah,
Okay.
high expectations and very, very high demands.
Hmm.
I had a couple of people that reached out to us thinking that we can do magic, that we are the magicians of the market. Yes, we get high rates. We're doing a very professional job. We're very experienced in this, and we have very, very strong guys. However, we're still working in the same market. Like, don't think we're gonna be able to make you 8 grand a week with your driving or 7 grand a week average. Yeah, you're gonna have a week out of six with 8K or 7.5 or something like that. But your average is gonna be more like in the notes in between
Another long
57 to 61. 61 would be a lucky 3, 4 weeks that you're gonna have that average. Mostly gonna be somewhere between 58 and 59.
Hmm.
So and this
Numbers
is
will
for
vary.
this current market. Maybe if you're seeing this video in a week, might not be the same number.
Yeah, good point.
This changes all the time. Taking consideration that this is as of 23rd of June. Maybe 1st of July is not gonna be the same.
Hmm.
So take it with a grain of salt and consider the time that you're watching this also. As of average per mile. I've seen a lot of people. Oh, I'm not gonna hold $2 a minute. I've had this discussion on live so many times. Like, guys, stop it. You're calling me. You're talking with me. You understand that? Oh, yeah, we're working on average. It has to be like after 2, 3 weeks. You put all the miles together. You put all the money together, and you have $2 a mile, or 210, or 220 a mile, and then you start working with a dispatcher. He gets you a 3.5 a mile out of a place, or maybe you're in a bad area and he gets you 140 a mile or 130 a mile. Say, oh, I'm not moving my truck for less than $2 a mile. And where is that thing that we just talked about? We discussed it in great detail, and this is the thing that I sound annoyed. Yes, because I am. Guys, like, you've been in trucking for so many years. Whenever I talk with you guys, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking those that I'm talking about. They know who they are very well.
Yeah.
Those guys that tell me, "Oh, I've been in trucking for 30 years. I know exactly how's this working." Yes, you know exactly how you should drive a truck and how you should do your job.
No, you're
Maybe
absolutely
you
right,
don't
and
know
we
how
do
to
run
do
into
my
that.
job so well.
No, you're absolutely right. We run into that all the time, and it always reminds me of a joke. It's a joke. Let me see that I pushed the.
The one that Kevin says is all the time.
No, that one's inappropriate. I don't think we can use that one.
No, it's not inappropriate. He said, yeah, you've been doing this for 30 years, but you could also be doing this for 30 years wrong.
Exactly. That sounds like something Kevin would definitely say, and that's good advice. That's actually very, very true. No, well, this isn't really so much of a joke, but it's more of bars put the signs up by on the side and says free beer tomorrow. You know? And it just, the sign never goes away, you know. So it's the same thing with the dispatch customers. Sometimes they'll join and they listen and they agree with you and they say, yeah, absolutely, I understand, and this is what we need to do. We're gonna start everything, but we're gonna do it tomorrow, and it's always tomorrow, and they just never do. So they continue to operate. It's kind of like so. Throughout the country over the last few years, we've had a lot of folks moving from certain parts of countries with certain political beliefs into other parts of the country with radically different or opposing political beliefs. And what's been really interesting is that people go away from certain places because of those political beliefs and what those political beliefs have led to, and they come to elsewhere, but they keep the same political beliefs, which doesn't really make sense. So same thing with trucking. It's kind of like a trucker has been doing all the things wrong, so he says, you know what, I'm going to go to a dispatch service. I like what these guys are about. We're gonna make this work. And then they come, and then they agree to work with the dispatcher. The dispatcher busts their butt. They give them some really good advice, try to offer some really good freight that's going to give them a really good average, but the customer continues to operate under the old mentality. And so the results are like the old results, or you see a very small increase versus what could have been if they just listened to their dispatcher. And we've seen lots of examples of that from some of our customers. Just look back through the videos. You'll always see the same names repeating oftentimes. And that's of a large fleet, large number of drivers behind, because we're basing it on unit numbers, right? So there's a lot of trucks involved. And all of a sudden you're seeing the same names repeat. How is that? Well, I'll tell you that in pretty much every single case is because they gave up those ideas of theirs because they weren't working, and they let the dispatcher do his job. And when they saw that the money was better, they were spending less money, and they were running more efficiently, and they were more relaxed and chill, and they were doing better. They said, okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna keep listening to dispatch, and dispatch kept performing, so it only solidified their relationship, right? Their trust. And so you have guys like, you know, some of our more long-term customers that have been with us for a long time with the same dispatcher, and yeah, they don't argue anymore.
But not even long term. I give a very, very good example of a customer that started recently with us. I don't know if you're watching game, if you do a high. I actually had a talk with Mr. Gabriel a couple of weeks ago.
You're kind of going in and out, man. Let's try maybe putting the microphone closer or something. I don't know if that's the problem.
Is it better now?
It is better now.
Cool. Yeah, so I was talking with Gabriel, and this was like a couple of weeks ago. Andy is his dispatcher, and he missed for a week. He took a week off, you know, a little bit of vacation. He worked with Joe, and they had a fantastic week. They actually had a very, very strong week.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, he thought that maybe I'm making more money with Joe. The thing is, don't believe what you see in 1 week. You might have a good week with everybody. You might have a good week with a guy that just started dispatching out of Kazakhstan a week ago.
And he might get lucky.
He's a good dispatcher. It doesn't mean oh my God, this is the best guy for me necessarily.
Sure.
It just means it was a good week. That's it. That doesn't mean it's a good dispatcher or the other one is a bad dispatcher or so go on. And he actually realized this, and I really appreciate it because I talked with him on Friday and said, look, I know we had that talk, and because I actually called him to see if we are going to do this change, because I thought, hey, maybe, you know, they match up better with Joe, so it's not a problem. We understand that mismatching can happen, and we can change that. We can fix that. It's not a problem as long as every problem can be solved as long as we talk about it. If we don't talk about it, the problem doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's very important.
But Gabriel did a very, very smart and good thing. He wanted to talk it with me. We talked it through, and he decided to remain loyal to Andy because he said, "Oh, it was just after all, it was just 2 bad weeks, and it was a little bit of misunderstanding between us, but everything got straightened up, and now we're
Yeah.
doing fantastic. I
No,
looked at their numbers,
Andy's a fantastic
their drive-in.
dispatcher,
Yeah, they're fantastic.
and so is
And their
Joe.
drive-in, the driver is his father. He's slightly more advanced in age, let's call it like that. He's not in his 30s anymore, but he's still doing fantastic. He's averaging somewhere around 5,800, 5,900 a week, with somewhere around 220 per mile.
Hmm.
This market is good. It's very good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're absolutely right in that sense. It's oftentimes it's not necessarily about the dispatcher. All of our dispatchers have been trained the same way. They're have their strengths and their weaknesses. Everyone's got a different approach to how they do their job, and we give them the freedom to do so. And so, therefore, they're able to shine from their own perspective, from their own personality. So, in that sense, it's more of a match between a certain driver and the dispatcher, because we have a dispatcher who's just he's amazing with getting rates. But the problem is sometimes he has customers that he just can't work with, and so he can get those amazing rates. And then the people, so is it really him? Is it some sort of magical skill that he's doing? No, he's a very good negotiator. He's a great coordinator. He does a lot of things well, but if you give him the wrong driver, he's not going to be able to get it, anywhere. It's kind of like that video when we talk about you can bring a horse to the water, you just can't make it drink. And it's the same thing. We have a lot of customers that'll jump in and will offer fantastic loads out of certain markets, and these are good things. These are like things you don't want to miss, but they are below some sort of a what's the word? Anyway, some sort of baseline number that they've figured out in their head, and then they just basically get stuck in that market. Eventually, they'll still take some cheap load, probably less money than what was initially offered, after losing 1 to 2 days and getting frustrated and spending money and burning fuel, and then they just get really crazy. And then after that, you start just taking whatever, and you try to make up for your gross. Guys, you don't need to do that. Just work with your dispatcher. That's why you hired him. That's the reason why. You've chosen to go that way. That's the point. And if you got, let's say you try them out and you have a horrible dispatcher, okay, what are you going to lose in 2 weeks? What are you going to lose in 1 week? I mean, you're going to have a small decrease if your dispatcher is not great, but what is the upside on that? You might jump in with some guys and bring it an extra $1,000 a week, maybe $1,500 a week. Maybe you're doing really bad, and maybe the difference is to just bring you up to like a normal running rate where you may not be, and maybe that's $2,000 under per week. Maybe your gross, your net will improve better. Maybe they'll run you more efficiently. There's so many opportunities, but if you are you have a fixed mindset about how things should be done, even though they've given you no results or bad results, then it's probably no dispatcher, no dispatch service is probably going to be will help you.
Yeah, but if you're doing something that it doesn't work for you, and you're trying with a dispatch service to change something, but you don't let the dispatcher change that thing that was not working for you, you're basically back to step one.
You're absolutely right.
But with an extra cost.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. It looks like today's show, unfortunately, it didn't get a lot of viewers, but I appreciate the viewers that it did get. I appreciate you guys who stuck around with us even to now. I'm going to show you guys a quick little video. Some of you guys have seen it, some have not. It's only 14 seconds long, but it'll give you a good idea. This is the one I was looking for before I started just showing you some nonsense.
Another long haul, another dead-end load. Some carriers are crushing it. Maybe it's time to switch to AFD dispatch. See how much more you could be making. Tap the Learn More button and see for yourself. Spots are limited. Not all will qualify. Semi-trucks only.
We don't have a Learn More button, or not on this screen, but anywhere you go to our homepage, you go to our, let's see, maybe I even have it up here. Yeah, you go to our homepage, you just click, there are the Learn More buttons. All these pages, all the links, they all lead to Rome. So they're all going to lead to you joining the service in one way or another. It's impossible to escape. Guys, I think today was a good show. You may not agree with me, but I think it was a good show. Don't have any outro music for you, just like I didn't have intro music. We did definitely, we're a little bit late and had to do a little bit of setup, but I think that portion of the video where we're covering the data, I think that's really where the gold is. I may cut that up and maybe make a shorter video out of that, because I think it's something that needs to be visited, right? Revisited. I think that data right there tells us about what's coming. What do we have already coming in? I mean, these are like manifests that they know. These are logs. This is data that they know that they're receiving these shipments. They're going to have to get sorted. They're going to have to get broken up, put together, figured out, logistics, right? All of this. It takes time, but a lot of this freight is going to end up on the back of a lot of your trailers. And our goal is to basically make sure that more of you, our customers, are going to be able to get the best freight. That's the whole idea. That's why we follow through with this information, to be able to look and say, okay, where do we pivot? Okay, I think a lot of our guys are going to be moving west now. As soon as we start seeing all this, some movement over there, our guys are going to get you over there at good money before the market spikes over there. And so going to California is going to be even cheaper, because they're going to know the rates have come up from California. So our guys take advantage of that. That's the benefit, because our guys are able to actually look at some of the stuff with their experience, with the connections, with what they're booking, with the camaraderie between all the dispatchers and the kind of the friendly environment that they're in, communicating. They're sharing data, and so they try to get you guys into these warming up markets. So by the time you get there, you get there at a good rate. The market warms up, it's hot. You get out there for really good money. That's how you make money going in and out, because everybody knows, that west to east pays and east to west doesn't, right? Well, there are ways to make them both pay. You just have to catch the market and time the market as much as possible. Now, if anyone knew how to time the market truly, consistently, they'd be a gazillionaire. I'd be willing to pay for that information. Fortunately, it doesn't exist, but we are as close as you get, because what gets you there is experience, is data, and time in the market. We have that. We have all of those things, and
a lot of hard work.
Guys, and a lot of hard work, and that's where the experience comes from. Absolutely. So yeah. I'm going to switch over to here. Let's see. I guess we're not going to have any callers today, but that's fine. Or maybe this one's better. We'll see. Anyway, Alex, anything you want to add? Certainly we can't delete, but we can add.
I mean, that was pretty much it. Like, as always, like, this is just a general advice that I always been given. Like, whenever you take a decision, think it through. Think it through properly. Think if it's the right decision for you. But if you do it, don't stop midway. You either do it or you don't.
Absolutely. By the way, thank you to everyone in the Instagram feed as well. Looks like we had a bunch of people join. I kind of ended up ignoring you guys, but I do apologize. Most of the action is on YouTube. But Alex, you're absolutely right, man. You have to consider that. I've seen that, oddly enough, very frequently in the trucking industry, where people will get very excited, which is normal for all businesses. When they get started, they're very excited about any business. But then what I've noticed is that, specifically in the trucking industry, there's the barriers to entry are quite low outside of the financial, but even that's available because of financing. But there's a lot of stuff you guys need to learn, and it's almost like people refuse to learn it. They don't want to, or they want to force the market to run their way or something like that. And it doesn't work that way. You kind of have set rules. You got to run by these rules. And once you find your stability, and once you have consistency, and once you have time in the market, you want to try stuff out. You're running a dry van. You want to try a flatbed. That's great. And then you want to try a reefer and get those three main in your flock, if you will. That's awesome. But don't just open a brand new trucking MC and then say, I've heard things because, Uncle John said that, the gravel pays well, or belly dumps, or, hauling hogs, whatever might be the case. That's not the way. That doesn't mean that you can't make money in those industries and in those sectors. You certainly can, but you got to start at the bottom. You know what I mean? You got to start at the beginning. You have to kind of go through those growing pains and to reduce your chances of failure and increase chances of success. It pays to plan ahead, write your business plans, and figure out the numbers. At least look into it past, I'm gonna buy me a truck and a trailer, and I'm gonna go out there and make the money. Doesn't work that way, guys. I apologize. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes you get lucky, but you really want to put your money, $250,000 worth of equipment and everything you worked really hard for, and put everything on the line on a whim of maybe getting lucky.
Kind of a big gamble.
Yeah, it's a big gamble, and we just prefer
for ordinary people like us.
Absolutely, 100%. That's a big gamble.
For a millionaire, he can do that, and he can buy the bullet. But to Because if I would lose 250 grand, I don't know what I would
I'll
do.
perfect segue. I'll tell you something really quick. Yesterday, late last night, so I have a friend in Los Angeles who's, I don't know, like the countless millions that he's got, and he's made that money on Bitcoin. Early adopter, sold it. He started trading. You just see his office is just like insanity. It looks like he's ready to land some planes, like a control tower. Screens, monitors, all the tickers, all this stuff going on. But he makes a lot of money doing that. And he showed some of his positions, some of the stuff that he's doing, blah blah blah. You could see how much has moved, what the bag amount is, and what he's got in his portfolio, et cetera, et cetera. And I always knew that. But then the guy's girlfriend pulls up her phone. Beautiful woman, beautiful. She pulls up the phone with her account and the coins that she was saying, hey, you guys should jump in, wait till it hits $5, blah blah blah. This is what we're doing. Major holders. They're some of the two of them together are probably like a whale in those some of the circles there. And it just so happens to be I looked at the account and it had $550,000 in it in a digital wallet on a like a Binance or Coinbase, something like that. So I don't know if I would ever be man enough to put $500,000 into
A new coin.
not just a coin, man, but even to transfer that out of my bank account to go to some repository network in China where it's just going to sit there as like tokenized. It's just too much, dollar amount. I mean, I have friends who can't get into Coinbase. The tech support is somewhere out there, and then they're locked out of their own accounts. They can't buy, sell, or move their money. I've had that happen with Binance.us, with my trades, and so having that much money tied up in some digital wallet with so much instability is crazy. So, but the truth of the matter is, they're taking those risks, and I know that guy. He's taking extremely calculated risks. I know he's doing his due diligence. He actually you don't just become a whale, right? You jump in, you talk to the people that are like the guys who mint the coins, the guys with the technology behind, if there is technology. We know there's a lot of garbage out there too. So all of those things, and you have to get that, and that's part of his market research. He does his fundamentals, and then if there are technicals, because some of these things have no technical analysis whatsoever. It's very, very difficult to read some of these things. Some of them don't have any fundamentals. You know what I mean? So it's a straight gamble. So, but the bottom line is that they do their homework, and they're nice shirt. But
I was trying to hide it.
at the very end. But or maybe you were just sending me a signal there, Alex. He's like, end the show.
Oh, that's for tomorrow.
We'll leave it at that. So my point is, just like the guys out there who are throwing huge amounts of money into crypto, they're not just randomly doing these things. You know what I mean? You cannot make money consistently by throwing randomly. I mean, it depends on the amount of money, I suppose, if you have available, like set aside for that. But the guys who have a ton of money out in the market, they're not going to do anything randomly. They're doing all their due diligence. They're talking to all the type of people that you and I might not even have access to. They're having drinks with these people. They're hanging out on boats and yachts and kicking it basically with these guys. And that's how they're able, because they have that money to do so, right? But they still do the research. Most of our viewers, you and I included, do not have that sort of money. So therefore, we have to, if those guys are doing their due diligence, guys, you owe it to yourself that you need to be doing this due diligence for your business. If you're buying a used truck, is it the right truck? You're going to get into the trucking? Is that the right market? Are you sure what you're doing is correct? Don't just throw money at the wind or throw it at the wall so see what sticks. Don't do that, right? So that's how it is. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Don't want to be long-winded. Alex, anything you want to add to that?
That's pretty much it.
Sounds good. Well, I agree. And, Alex and I will take off. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much. I think you guys are the lucky ones. The guys who made it to the live, the guys who were, because like I said, we didn't get a lot of views, Sometimes we have poor shows and they do really well on the lives. Sometimes they don't. So I'm really hoping that more and more people watch this as because that portion, again, I will jump in once it's done in process. I'm going to make chapters so you guys can jump in and look into it because I really do think it's useful. And hopefully if if you let us know in the comment section below if that's something that's helpful to you in the comments in a replay, we may do more of these.
I mean,
Anyway.
it's definitely good news.
Cool. It's definitely good news. Yeah, definitely. Just like the thumbnail says. Alex, you are a rock star. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care,
Don't
man.
forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and see you next Sunday.
Awesome job, man. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.